Hi, this is Jordan Ramirez, and normally I host my podcast show Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez. Now I am hosting a special show for my podcast, Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez, Minisode Jordan Ramirez Recommends. The minisodes are now airing every Monday at 12 p.m. as part of the Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez podcast. So, without further ado, you are listening to a Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez minisode. For my 8th episode, this film was recommended to me by my uncle Dio Carlos, Saturday's Hero from 1951, directed by David Miller, starring John Derek and Donna Reed. Steve Novak, played by John Derek, is a rising football star who was looking forward to graduate from high school and looking to see which university he would enroll in. But when Steve decides to enroll in Jackson University, he is warned by his friend and journalist Eddie Abrams, played by Elliot Lewis, that the university is shady, and he has done some research on why Jackson would not be the preferred choice for Steve to enroll in. But Steve refuses to give up and decides to go to Jackson University because of its academic temerity and because he believes it will lead him to a successful career in his education. When Steve is enrolled at Jackson University, he starts to learn the harsh truth about the university and the price of being a football star. While he and his classmates are given the life of living like an athlete and making it in the big leagues, they are also given low wages at $30 a month, in which they had to show up for every game as part of the requirement. The benefactor who pays for Steve's expenses on the campus is alumni T.C. McCabe, played by Sidney Blackmer. In return, Steve has to make different appearances for other people to come and lure investors and other coaches to buy him off as property. A dark expose in the McCarthy era about treating students as employees in a minimum wage displacement and treating the game of football as a business for shady and eye-raising details. An impressive and daring film that was released during the pinnacle of the McCarthy era and the Hollywood blacklist that was ever made by a Hollywood studio that was able to make it into the theater screens. Regarding the strong points that the film has to offer, I admired the brilliant writing of Millard Lample and Sidney Buchman for tackling this unfilmable topic that would never have gotten made due to its sociopolitical themes on classism and the dark underbelly of the corruption of sports and college campuses as a business, but they were somehow able to make it work in the film noir category. And also for having a pro-union and progressive message that makes this film one of the few sports films that I have ever enjoyed from beginning to end. The camera and lighting work by master cinematographer Lee Garms also is a strong suit for this film. His brilliant use of camera shots in the football sequences presents a "you are there" moment for those who have never been up close to the players on the field. His brilliant lighting techniques and mise-en-scène are perfect to capture the atmosphere of this dark story of corruption in a sports drama like this, as well as pessimism and downright bleakness. The direction by David Miller is also a strong suit for this film in handling the subject matter throughout the narrative and staying true to Lample's vision of the story in capturing the mood and context of his novel. For the performances of the film, this is a John Derek film in which he shines as the football star who later learns the truth about this university through his subtle acting and restrained emotion that he stoically displays throughout this entire movie. Some of the best moments of adding a layer to this film and depth to the performances are from the supporting players such as Donna Reed as Melissa, who starts out as a sort of femme fatale type character, but is later sympathetic throughout the entire film. Sidney Blackmer as the corrupt business tycoon T.C. McCabe provides the realism and shadiness of his role as Steve's benefactor at the university, and Alexander Knox as Professor McGrath. He brings a humanist and conscientiousness who balances the ethics and morals of the story through his words and literature as a sort of guardian on campus. The only negative point that I will mention about this film, and this is in my personal opinion, I didn't feel that the pairing of Donna Reed and John Derek clicked into my mindset as an on-screen movie couple. They had some great scenes together, but I never thought of them to be a real movie couple. Saturday's Hero is an adaptation of Millard Lample's The Hero, which was later picked up and optioned by Columbia Pictures. The story was picked up by producer Sidney Buchman, who believed in the message of the story and was determined to bring the horrifying truth of college football from behind the closed doors to the big screen. Saturday's Hero would mark the first film for Donna Reed at Columbia Pictures, and was one of the few films in which she didn't play an innocent girl type role that showcased her true performance on the screen. This film would mark the debut for Aldo Ray, who plays Novak's friend Gene Hausler, a rural student from West Virginia who also learns the high price of being a football player throughout the film. As you watch his performance on screen, you almost believe that he is an actual football player and not a film actor, which adds to the realism of the story. Lee Garms' camera work and David Miller's direction was not just limited to the main story, but also to the choreographing of the football sequences in the film. According to TCM.com, quote, "Football movies from the past often relied on a stationary camera planted in the stands high above the action, but Garms managed to get his cameraman among the players on the field during the maneuvers. In one scene, the camera follows closely behind a player as he sprints toward the goal line. It has the immediacy of a handheld shot, though handheld work would have been extremely difficult in 1951. Adding to the sense of the realism was the use of college and professional football players instead of actors or stunt players during the game sequences." End quote. During the film's release, it was met with some critical praise towards some of the cast members, including Donna Reed and Aldo Ray. It was, however, a box office flop, and it was hampered by the protests of the film for its pro-union and progressive messages and themes. And the film's producer and writer were later called to testify during the HUAC hearings. Buchman and Lampel were both blacklisted from the film industry, and this film was mostly overshadowed by that dark and ugly chapter in American history. This film, as I watched it, feels very timely and relevant with the current situations of students in college football being treated in the same manner as Steve Novak in this film. I highly recommend this film for anyone who has never watched it, and I want to give a shout out to my uncle Tio Carlos for recommending this film to me, and I enjoyed it very much. This has been a Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez Minisode. Tune in to the Minisodes every Monday at 12 p.m. and Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez every Friday at 4 p.m. on Anchor, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And until then, I'll see you at the movies.